Hey, what's up guys? Back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing stuff with suspension. Now, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you know that my rear Eibach Multipro R1 / OEM Mazdaspeed coilovers in the rear, both piston rods in them snapped. So after I got back into Utah and crashed the car and then fixed it and then put those coilovers on, I drove the car around for about a month. And then one of the piston rods snapped, and then I got really bad rod knock in the back of my car. Sounded like I had a VQ in the back of my car. It was that bad. But and then after that, about a month and a half or 2 months, somewhere in that area, the other one snapped. So I ended up having to put the one stock Bilstein that came on my car in the rear, and then the stock Takiko, standard Takiko assembly that was put on the car for some reason, which I believe is also blown because that side always sagged more. But I didn't like that. I looked into options such as sending them off to Eibach to be repaired, which they don't have the exact piston rods, but they can upgrade them to thicker rods. They originally gave me a $640 quote, and I wanted some clarification on that, so I asked about it, and well, their response was actually pretty rude. Turns out their customer service is actually pretty shitty overall, and well, they lost my business, so I'm not going to go through them for that. I'll do something with those in the future, but for now, I'm not going to be repairing those Bilsteins. But in the front, the Eibachs are actually pretty damn solid. Haven't had a single issue with them at all. I just had to loosen up the dampening a bit, and they're actually pretty damn comfortable. So fronts are solid, rears are shit. So what am I going to do about it? Well, I looked into other options such as Fortunato building me a rear only set, which would have cost me $741, I think was the original quote for that. And you know, Fortunato's great. I've seen a lot of great reviews about them, and a lot of people love them. And I absolutely would have gone with them, but at the same time, I'm really big on OEM stuff on the RX-8. On the RX-7, not so much, but you know, on the RX-8, I'm really anal about OEM stuff. So that's where this comes into play. So here you'll see a couple different things. Coilover springs. These are actually from the Bilstein PSS9 kit. You cannot buy these springs directly from Bilstein individually. You have to buy the entire kit to get them, which is kind of shitty. But I found these on eBay for pretty cheap, and yeah, I'm going to be using these for my suspension conversion thing. Over here is a Allstar Performance coilover conversion kit. So this kit overall is about 40 bucks, and what you get is a top hat, which I'm not going to be using, which is kind of a waste of money. A 7-inch sleeve, which I'll be using in the rear. You'll see this one I'm going to be using on the front is 5 inches, and also a lock collar with a little screw thing to lock it in place. This little plastic ring, it's just to keep hard surfaces from touching another hard surface. This actually came from my Eibach coilover kit, so I'm just reusing some of the parts from that. But you can buy those from Allstar, I believe. I don't know the part number on them, but I can put the part numbers and links to where I bought these in the description below. Now, I'm not just doing this without knowing the results afterwards. I actually have one side already done, this being a brand new Bilstein shock, bought off of eBay for like 99 bucks from one of the Bilstein vendors. As you can see, I have the coilover sleeve installed, along with one of these rear springs. And I installed only one just to test it out, see how it did, and it's actually pretty damn solid. The rear feels a lot more solid than with the bullshit standard Takiko that was probably blown. And let's see, the ride height is set to match this one, which is just a completely standard assembly. And that's what I'm going to be converting today. Now for the fronts, I'm going to have to do a little bit more, and I'll show you real quick. So on the fronts, I'll have to have these modified, because if you look on the inner part of these sleeves, you'll see this little lip right here. That lip rests on a circlip, and the circlip that's in the standard location on a standard front shock is way too high. So on the 5-inch sleeve, you're about 34 millimeters over the top, but because I'm using these specific springs, now you can use whatever springs you want in whatever size you want. You don't have to use these ones. Don't stuck. Let's see, the top of this is going to be resting right about here. So in order to make this work with this, I'm going to need to put the circlip somewhere in this area. So I'll have my machinist friend mill in a couple of new circlip grooves, and then I'll be able to move that down, and then move this down and adjust height as needed. But that'll be for another day, so there will be a part 2 of this video. But today we're going to be doing this with that. Not this. This is like a waste of $15. I got like 4 of these. But yeah, everything that I'm using in the video will be in the description below. So look at that, and make your judgment there. Anyway, let's go ahead and remove the rear assembly. So don't mind the mess in my trunk, but to remove your coilover suspension assemblies and stuff like that, what you're first going to need to do is locate some clips that are just in here and around. But I don't keep clips in these, so I can just pull that up, put that off to the side, and then let's see. I don't know if this is held in by any clips anywhere. Oh, maybe right there. So find whatever clips are holding these in, and you're going to be able to pull these out. Let's turn the light. And what you'll find is a bunch of 14 millimeter nuts and bolts. First, you're going to need to get off 2 that are holding on the top hat, and these 2 that's holding on my rear stabilizer bar, or sway bar. I think this is sway bar. And underneath here is going to be 2 14 millimeter bolts. But before we do any of that, we're going to need to jack up the car first. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, wheels off. So now we're gonna go ahead and start removing the coilover assembly. Okay, with all those removed, next step is to unbolt this arm and unbolt this arm. That way it'll let your whole hub assembly come down a bit. But you're also gonna need to take off one 17 mil bolt, which is right there. And that will allow you to push the coilover assembly out, and then you can move it down. And oh, also you may have a bolt right there where there's no bolt, but that's usually a 12 millimeter bolt. That's just a retaining bolt. You don't actually need it, but it helps when you're installing stuff. So if you want that there, great. If not, then it doesn't matter. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and unbolt this and get this out. It was a way bigger pain in the dick than it should have been, and yeah, I don't remember ever having to take that much apart. So instead of just these two arms, which obviously are undone now, I also had to take off the, or unbolt the end link, and also the level sensor thing that's right here. Yeah. So to undo this arm down here, I also had to do that too. You're going to need a 19 mil wrench and a 6mm Allen key. It has a little Allen key thing. You're also going to want PB blaster or whatever the fuck this thing is. And yeah, that way you don't strip stuff out, because these like to strip really easy. These don't hold up very well at all if you strip it out. And yeah, this is just a 10 mil, little 10 mil nut. So that came off pretty easy. Yeah, more stuff than what really needs to be done, but I need to do that here. Anyway, what I'm going to do now with the rear assembly is I'm going to take a measurement of where the top hat sits versus the bottom, because I am going to match the overall ride height of this with this. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull my tape out, put my phone down. Okay, so get the top hat there, and we're just at about 16 inches. All right, so that's what we're gonna go for, 16 inches. All right, so when you're removing the spring from the assembly, you're going to have something to hold it in place. So here, I just have some spring compressors that are actually pretty broken. One of them is anyway. But it should do the job in order to not rock it one end somewhere or whatever. So, but I'm back. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and bolt that now. Okay, so I ended up having to use a vise to hold this in place so I can get it off. Yeah. Anyway, now this is all apart. Now what we're going to want to do is get this guy off. So I'm probably going to need to use a hammer and some sort of chisel or something like that, just to break it free from the shock. Because without being able to get this off, you're not going to be able to get this off. Just because it's, you know, the width of the shock. Plus we're also going to need to remove the bump stop and all that fun stuff. But once we break this free, we're going to cut it off from the, we're just going to cut it off because we're not going to be able to get it past there. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we're going to use a hammer and chisel, and we're going to try and get this off using the vise. I'm going to clamp this part in the vise, and that should be able to hold it, and hopefully this comes off no problem. So this is going to come off no problem. Let's see, you're also going to make sure you hold on to these little guys, because this goes onto here, and that's what this is for your bump stop. Hold on to those. Next we're going to go ahead and pop this off, and well, this is probably going to make your shock look pretty ugly, so whatever. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and pound that off. Okay, got a little bit impatient from hammering the shit out of it. As you can see, most of this sticker and paint stuff is gone here. But ended up just cutting it, which is very highly unrecommended because it heats up the shock. It's actually kind of warm now, but not too warm. I don't think I should have to worry about it. But I'm gonna clean this up and get all this little metal dust off. Yeah, because I don't want little metal particles going in my shock. Alright, gonna throw some of this stuff away and move on. Okay, so now with everything off, we can go ahead and put our sleeve on. So you're gonna want to locate the lip that's on the inside. Over here it'll be more of a chamfered lip, which I wouldn't recommend trying to use as a base. And it's gonna rest on that circle hook on the bottom. I'm gonna go like this. Slides. Oh, yeah, sticker residue. Give me a sec. Okay, so as we work, so I'm gonna slide it all the way down, and then it'll just rest on the bottom like that. Now you could leave it like this if you wanted to, but there's a little bit of slop in the. There's just a little bit of slop in this. So what I'm gonna do is add some of this aluminized tape. Let's try to do this one-handed. You'll see that there's this little edge on the top and on the bottom. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at where the tape would sit against that, and then just put 2 strips of tape on the shock itself. We're gonna do that. Okay, so what I did is just resting on the circle, just right above it, I put 1 wraparound, and then up here I put kind of a half wraparound because there's already a sticker here. That should be enough, so we're gonna go ahead and put the sleeve on and see how it sits. Okay, so it's a little bit loose on there still, so I'm gonna add 1 more like half wraparound on each, and that should be able to do it. Okay, so I actually added pretty much a full other wraparound of aluminum tape. Let's see, and because this is plastic, I just went ahead and put this back on. It's a little protective thing, so why not? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this little plastic ring on. Something for that to rest onto. Do not forget about your little ring thing. This got stuck in there, and we're just gonna try and thread it through, and then yeah, put the bump stop all the way down. Okay, that seemed to work. And all right, that works. What I really like about these springs and why I decided to buy them is the top part. So originally I was going to use these Mazdaspeed Eibach springs, but they're 2.5-inch springs, and I'd have to make an adapter for the top to actually sit the way it should. Now it looks like it just sits right in there, but if you take this rubber lip off, it's just that little thin piece of metal. So I'd have to make an adapter with this integrated in some way, shape, or form. So for the Bilstein springs, which just wrap around just like a stock spring. So next we're going to go ahead and put the top hat on, and then finish up the assembly. And also one other thing to add in is when you're putting your springs back on, make sure that the end of the spring matches the little rubber boot thing. So I just realized I may have to go back and redo this side coilover because it doesn't have this little sleeve or this little under boot. It has the over boot thing, but not this under thing, but the sleeve. But it seems fine for now, but I could take it off of my other stock assembly that has the Tikiko shock in it, and that should be good. Okay, so there's a fully assembled rear custom Bilstein PSS9 coilover assembly. Now, remember how I said that I was gonna match this to stock? Well, I was gonna do that, but I already have this on the car. So what I'm gonna do is take the bottom measurement from the the threaded area, and then match it to this. Looks like we got just above 2 1/3/8. So a little bit right there. All right, that's what I gotta remember. Okay, so it looks like right now we are at 2 3/8. So we need to get to the 1 3/8. Okay, so what's really cool about these little lock collar things is there's 3 points of prong insert thing, so it gets you caught. Let's see, I'm just using a punch or whatever the fuck you call this, I forget right now. But I don't know the size of it, but it fits snugly in there, so I can use that. So yeah, just need to raise it up and should be good to go. Okay, so we are now just barely past 2 1/3/8. Yeah, that should be where we want it. So before I actually tighten this down, I could just tighten it down and lock it in place. I want to install it on the car and then make sure the car sits level on either side. And then after that, I'll put some, I won't put Loctite on there, I don't need it. But I'll tighten this down and lock it in place and we'll be good to go for right now. Okay, so something that I seem to completely overlook is that the cert clip, where it's mounted in the OEM shock versus the aftermarket OEM equivalent shock, is actually in a different spot. If you look at this side, see how short it is against the base? And you look over here, it's actually quite a bit higher. So I measured the threads instead of from the bottom to up to here. So what I need to get to is, let's see, 5 and just past 5 2/7/8. So between that and the 3, that little point right there. And where I'm at right now, somewhere over 6. Almost there, but yeah, I just gotta lower this until I get to that point, and then I can preload the springs or the shock assembly, and then it'll be good from there. Okay, so I think I got it just about where I want it. So we're gonna go ahead and preload the assembly, and what that basically means is that you're jacking up the hub until it's basically just resting on itself. I'm gonna go ahead and jack it up. The springs probably gonna compress all the way. Well, these ones anyway. But it looks like just about off. Yeah, that looks really bad, but that's how they're designed to compress. They're not going to compress that much while driving because obviously the wheel's not going to go all the way up into here. But yeah, now just got to tighten these down, and then you should be able to lower it and put the wheel on the car, see where it sits. Okay, suspension is preloaded, so we're going to go ahead and put the wheel on. Okay, so just barely lowered on the ground. That's about where it sits. let's see. So it used to sit a lot lower. So my guess is that it just needs to settle a bit. But like this side is also pretty high up too. So if it doesn't settle anymore, then I'll lower it more, but I shouldn't have to because the spring should be able to compress and, you know, as I drive. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it right there for now anyway. And then, yeah, I'll just lock them in place and then assemble everything and get the wheel on, get out of here. All right, so here's where it pretty much settled at. I don't know if it's completely settled or not, but the other side didn't really want to go any more than that either. So let's look on this side. That side actually looks a little bit higher. Let's check. So I can fit 2 fingers pretty much dead even in there. On this side, I can't even get 2 fingers in there. Okay, so I may have to raise this side a little bit. Let's see, on the fronts, they're actually maxed out low, so I can't go any lower than that, but we'll see how it is with the new Multipros when Discount Tire gets those in. Okay, so driving on 2 converted rear coilover things for the first time. Been driving on the one I already did for like the last week or something, more than a week, maybe about a week exactly. I don't know, but yeah, so far it seems fine. I guess technically it's a downgrade from the Eibach because they're not dampening adjustable, but what I really like about the stock Bilstein shocks is that they're already really good dampening from the factory. They're just a little bit better than the Kiko's, and I think they hold up better over time. Because the one that I converted today, I believe is original to the car. And then the one that I already did was, well, a brand new one. And never seemed to feel any issue or any sloppiness in the rear. But I guess I took that turn a little bit hard going right, so weight to the left, and seems pretty solid. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied so far, but of course I'll have to see how it is over time, and you know, the real test will be when I do the fronts. So the fronts I don't have to change anything with because the Eibachs are perfectly fine, but I just want to have matching suspension all the way around. And I think what I might end up doing with the Eibachs, preparing the rear shocks and then modifying the fronts so that they can be adapted into a first gen suspension setup, and then I'll put Mazdaspeed coilovers on my RX-8. Woo! So technically the RX-7 will have better suspension, well, better coilover setup than the RX-8, but they'll both be stocked, so I'm happy with that. But until that date, I don't know. But anyway, if you liked this video at all, go ahead and leave a comment, like, subscribe, and whatever I can do better. I know I did a lot of stuff kind of half-assed in this video with recording and stuff. I'll try to improve on that, but you know, other things, whatever you can think of that I can improve on, please let me know. I'm always open to any constructive criticism or feedback or whatever. But like I said earlier, this is a part 1. Part 2 will be the fronts, which I won't be installing until both of them are ready to go. Yeah, that's about it. All right, see ya.